Alex, that was really exquisite. So, our theme this year has been living my truth. I live my truth. Just in case you forgot what our theme was this year. So, I live my truth. And then the theme for this month has been taking action. And the title of my talk today is Living in the Fire. Living in the fire. Last week we talked about the spark of creation, what we do to create that spark, and that spark creates the fire of our life. And so today, knowing that this song was being sung, I really wanted to talk to you about this concept of living your truth, living in the fire, and not giving up. It's too easy to just throw it away when something happens, isn't it? I say to myself, I live my truth, and then something happens, and am I living my truth? Am I really living my truth? I had a very, you know what, it wasn't very. People are dying around the world in war, so my weekend was like a breeze, but it seemed challenging to me at the time. But, so this weekend was really, I got to be a teenage Uber for the entire weekend. Literally. And I kept saying to myself, self, is this what it's come down to? You drive aimlessly all over Los Angeles, hours on end. I had to pick my son up at school on Friday at 2:30 and take him out to Costa Mesa in rush hour traffic on the 405, except that my Google map told me to go ahead and take the 110 instead, or the 10, and then the 110. I left West Hills at 2:30 and arrived in Costa Mesa at 7:20. Riding that entire time with a 16-year-old boy who had a lot to talk about. It was really funny. At one point, I said, "Don't you usually like to put headphones on and just listen to music?" And he was like, "I can if you want." I went, "No, then I'm a bad parent. Just keep talking." So, so when I got there at 7:20, the beautiful Annabeth Rickley was there because they were doing they're all planning the winter camp. And when I got there, Annabeth said, "Oh, you should get this app on your phone." So the app on the phone, it's called, I have no idea what it's called. Waze, thank you. I was just going to say, it's a cute little blue thing. It's called Waze, W-A-Y-Z, or Waze. W-A-Z-E. Waze. So, how many Z's in Waze? So I put it on my phone because I thought, who knows what traffic's going to be like on the way home. And I'm trying to get back for bowling, which isn't going to happen because I'm in Costa Mesa at 7:30. Mind over bowling, the thing I so wanted to do. And I'm like, why, oh Lord, why? Actually, it wasn't that dramatic. Till after Will got out of the car. So I plug in Waze and it's there, and I get about 7:30. I leave at 7:30. I get to about maybe 7:45, and I hear this little voice that says, "Traffic is coming to a halt." I was like, oh my God, it's going to narrate my drama? This is amazing. So, but because of that, I look off the side of the road, and there's this gorgeous mall. Just everything, Neiman Marcus, Saks, it's just this gorgeous mall. I guess it's the Costa Mesa Mall. I wasn't traveling very far. And so I said, that's it, I'm done. I pull off, I walk into this mall, and it was like Alice in Wonderland. I literally walked in, it was like gigantic. It's like really amazing. And every single person I passed seemed to know my dilemma because they all smiled at me. Really, these people were like, "Hi." I was like, "Hi." Clearly you don't live in North Hollywood, okay? And everyone's saying hi to me, and everyone's being nice. And I'm looking, and there's so many different choices for restaurants. And I'm like, wow, this is like great. So I decide on a restaurant, and I walk in, and this waiter comes up, he goes, "Would you like to taste some free salads?" I was like, I was so taken aback, I hear myself say no. And then I'm thinking, yeah, you would have. And then I was like, relax. Oh my God, that long ride with your son, you know, it really took its toll. Relax, bro. So because now I'm talking like him. So I sat down to eat, and the waiter was nice, and everybody was nice, and I was relaxed, and I was like, it's pretty amazing how when you don't give up, and you remember principle, and you remember your truth, and you allow the fire to come through you. I pulled out my iPhone. I've seen you people, you kids, younger people, watch movies and stuff on your iPhones. I've never done that. So I take my iPhone out, and you'll never guess what I watched. Last week's service. I did. I pulled it up, and I'm watching last week's service. And I'm watching me, and I'm going, wow, you're really on fire. Wow. And I'm watching it, right? And I'm like, it's not even me anymore. I'm going, yeah, that's it. And I had this most amazing time. I watched half of the service because then I was done eating, and then I went back into the car, and I put it on in the car audibly, and then I drove home, and when I got in the car, I put on Waze, and it said, clear ahead. And I just made it home. But think about this. I left at 2:30 from West Hills. Between Costa Mesa and getting back to my house, I got back to my house at 9:50. That was a long day. And it was a long day to stay on principle. And it was a long day to remember who I am. And it was a long day, and I had a small area to navigate in. And then when I get home, I pick up Nora at her mother's, and she says to me, don't forget, we have to leave at 4:30 tomorrow morning to get me to Chaminade. I was like, what? Seriously? I said, I thought you had to be there at 8. She went, no, we have to be where we're going at 8. So we have to get up at 4. We have to be there by 5:45. So if you get up at 4 and make me breakfast, that'll be a good time. So I was like, how's this work for you? What time do we have to leave the house? She said, like 5:15. I said, I'll be up at 5:14. I will be throwing clothes on. You will have already eaten because I'm leaving you some food out, just like I would for the little bears, right? So there. So you eat that food. I will be in the car by 5:15, and we will get there on time. And there was my day. And then Saturday just unfolded after that. So the reason I bring all this up, other than to just tell you what I did for my summer weekend, is because this idea of throwing it all away when challenges come along, we need to be done with that. We need to know that these things happen for a reason. They really do unfold for a reason. So these lyrics, these amazing lyrics of Jason Mraz, that's why I'm using my iPad today, I really want to make sure I get these lyrics. Ernest Holmes says that there is a fire in your belly that is waiting for you to acknowledge it. A fire in your belly. So when you're going through challenges and you kind of give up on the fire and you kind of throw it all away and just get angry or disgruntled or annoyed or worried or uncertain, all those things that we do, and Karen brought it up perfectly. Yes, the class this week was amazing. Having the ministerial students and the Beyond Limit students together, it was just one of the highlights of my teaching career, truly. And I love what you brought up, the secondary causation, because every time you're disgruntled, you're creating again. Every time you're unhappy, you're creating again. Whatever atmosphere you are living in, you're creating from. So if you allow yourself to get unhappy, get yourself unhinged, get yourself to react to things from a place of anything other than truth, I live my truth, you're just creating from that. So that's the way it works. I create, the law says yes, and I experience it. Then I experience whatever it is I experience, and I'm creating again. And then the law says yes, and I experience it. And then I experience it, and I feel what I feel, and I create it again. You see how habits happen? And we get stuck in them, and just stuck in them, and just stuck in them, until one day we finally come along and say, wait, I am God. Let's start this over. Wait, let's pull off the freeway and start this day over again. That's how it works. That's how this whole science works. So, when I say I live my truth, I say I'm living 3 things. 3 very specific things. Oneness, which we did so beautifully, thank you, Karen. Oneness, identity, and the power of the mind. Oneness, identity, and the power of the mind. They're the 3 things. Oneness, understanding it's all God. Identity, I am that. And then the power of the mind, the law of cause and effect as it works through my mind. Oneness, identity, the power of the mind. Say that with me. Oneness, identity, the power of the mind. That's when you say I live my truth, that's what you're saying. I live the truth that I am one with everything. I live the truth that I am God. And I live the truth that my mind is the greatest tool I could ever possibly have to create what I want out of my life. So I want to look at these lyrics. Just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? Oneness. That's what he's talking about there. Oneness. How old is your soul? You are right where you are with whatever's going on in your life because life in you brought you here. By your direction. You focused it, funneled it to bring you right where you are right now. For some of you, this is good news. For some of you, this is less good news. And for some of you, you'd like to believe that it's not your doing. But it is. I mean, that's the way it works. So, how old is your soul? You are infinite in scope. You are not only infinite in age, you are infinite in creative possibilities. You are infinite in the scope of what you can do with your life, regardless of what anyone may say. You know, I've been looking at my cholesterol numbers because they went really high at one point for some strange reason. I don't know, the rice pudding, whatever. Haagen-Dazs, whatever. When the doctor said to me, when she told me the number, which was astronomical, she said, "What have you been doing?" And I said, "Eating." And we went through what I was eating, and I changed my diet drastically, and I went back this week to get my tests, and she said, "Well, they went down a little." I went, "A little? I have changed my entire lifestyle." And then she said, "Well, you know," she said, I think maybe just keep doing it." And I was like, just keep doing it. And as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about this talk, and I'm like, just keep doing it. Just keep living from the truth. Just keep going. And she didn't seem too upset, so I was like, great. I'm just going to keep doing what I do, and the numbers will go where the numbers go. And are we or are we not in charge of our bodies with the way we use our minds? Am I going to step off principle because I have a slightly highly elevated cholesterol count and suddenly think that number has anything to do with me? No, I'm not. Although I will eat healthfully, because that's how I like to eat anyway. So this whole concept of who you are in terms of the oneness of the world, your infinite scope of soul, that is something you must live from. You must live from understanding you're one with all of it. Next lyric. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. We learn every single day who we are. If we let ourselves, every day we get clearer and clearer and clearer about who we are, every single day. We take action in learning who we are. We take action in listening to who we are. We take action in being willing to hear what people tell us we are, because God is speaking no matter who's talking. When I show up in the world, I show up as that version of myself that I'm living. That's who shows up in the world. Who shows up in the world as you is your identity of you, who you've decided you are. That's how you show up in the world. So who are you showing up as? Are you showing up as the highest version of you? You know, Caressa read a beautiful thing from Don Miguel Ruiz during our meditation, which was just do your best. If you do your best, you set the trajectory for your life to unfold best in the best way possible. So, I had to learn what I got, what I'm not, and who I am. What I got. Next month is our month about being grateful. What do you have? I mean, just look at your life. What do you have in your life? I was standing in my garden yesterday, and I was just looking around at my home and my garden. I was listening to the birds and watching the squirrels, and this cat from next door constantly comes into my yard and just kind of looks at me and then frowns and runs away. And I'm standing there and I'm thinking about all the things I have, and all of a sudden, and this is why I'm telling you this, all of a sudden, I'm thinking, you don't belong in my garden. And I know, really. Horrible me, right? And I was like, what's wrong with this picture? A cat is in my garden dissing me. It's bad enough you're here, but dissing me? Really? Didn't do it this time. I was in they do that, I know. Cats are very independent. We could learn a lot from cats, but that's not today's talk. Cats now and forever, Bob Morrissey. So, that was the only Broadway reference you're getting today. So, So this cat comes in, and it looks at me, and I'm thinking, it's going to diss me. It doesn't. It keeps coming. And I'm like, really? And rubs up against my leg. And I'm like, I bet it's asking me to pet it, and as soon as it does, it's going to bite me. Because I've had experiences with cats. Not the show, real cats. So it rubs up against me and circles me and all, and I was like, you are one with everything. That's the whole purpose of you standing in this yard looking at everything so beautifully. So I reached down, and as I reached down, I could even cry. As I reached down, it rolls over on its back and gives me its belly. I know. I was like, oh, I get it. You've been coming into my yard, scoping it out, and deciding, is this dude clear that he is one with me? Because if he's not, he'll probably bite me. So finally, it was mirroring what I was feeling. Get it? I showed up as someone else standing there, even though I went back to an old thought, I stayed open to the possibility, and I leaned down and rubbed its belly and all, and it stayed in my backyard like for a long time. And then this morning, as I was writing my talk, it came through the yard again and right up to my window and just looked at me. And I just said, hi, I'm really busy. And then it just kind of shook itself and went along its way. So when you know who you are, the world pets you. Really, when you know who you are, you attract that to you that wants to show you love, that wants to turn itself over and show you its belly and say, this is who we are, when you know who you are. So that's number 2. Number 1 is oneness. Number 2 is understanding, really understanding your identity, what I got, what I'm not, and who I am. I love that Karen put that there. I love who I am. I am God. And I've done a lot of reflecting on that recently because it's come back to me very often from people saying it's a hard thing to swallow. And I get that. And it's only a hard thing to swallow, I am God, because of what we consider God to be, or because of who we consider God to be, or because of our past relationship with this thing called God that really was never God. It was some superimposed control mechanism in order to keep people in line. That's not God. And so when I say I am God and you think that, I understand your reticence. But when I say I am God, I mean I am you, and you are me, and we are one. And I am the energy of life, and I am ready, willing, and able to create from that place, knowing who I am and knowing what is mine to live. That's the part in identity that is so, so ultimately important. And the last one is the power of the mind, the law of cause and effect. I don't want to be the one to walk away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference I can make. Here's the thing about the law of cause and effect. You cannot walk away from the law of cause and effect. Ever. It follows you everywhere. You are the law of cause and effect. So your idea of walking away from anything, you're not walking away from anything. You're just creating in another venue. That's it. So you have to be willing to understand that I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to walk away. I am only going to stand right where I am and create that which I want to create by using this, by using my mind, and make the difference I can make. Our differences teach us to use the tools and gifts we got. We got a lot at stake. Differences sometimes can actually make us seem separate. And yet it's not. Differences are the very thing that make us so much fun. This congregation is one of the most different congregations, I think, on the planet. Seriously, and I mean that in a very positive way. You are all so different from one another. It's a unique grouping of people. There's no one like the other. And that's good. That is good, because that means that you are allowing your individuality to come out. We got a lot to learn. We have to learn how to bend without the world caving in. So I want to go back then to the top of this. I won't give up. I won't allow anything to take me off principle. I won't allow that which comes along to tell me anything different from what I really know. That's who we get to be. That's taking action in our lives. That means that no matter what happens for you, when you come up against a challenge of any kind, you're willing to look at it through truth, not to find a different truth in it. Nora came home last night from her DTAS, which is I guess like 100 or 200 schools competing for the California Acting Awards. And she kept me informed throughout the day. We got to semifinals, and then we didn't get to finals. And she came home with all these different reasons why they didn't get to finals, why they didn't win, what was going on. And I'll be very honest, she was so respectful of everyone else. And I thought, great, that is really great that you are being really respectful of all the other people, even though you know why they shouldn't have won. And in the end, I was able to look at her and go, well, here's the truth. We can have all the reasons in the world why we don't get what we think is ours. We can have all the reasons in the world why someone did this and they shouldn't have, why I didn't deserve this. We can have all those reasons. But if I'm going to stand in my truth, then I have to know that the outcome was mine to create from the beginning. Not something a 16-year-old really wants to hear at 10:30 at night. But she was great with it. She went, I do know that, Dad. She said, I really get it. I get that every single person there is equal to, because she uses my jargon at the moment. I don't know what she says when she's not with me. But she says, I get that everyone there is equal to whatever they created. She said, doesn't mean I can't be mad about it. And I got it. I said, yeah, that's great. I said, you know where you're going to go with that madness? You're going to take that madness, and next year, you're going to create something else. When it happens again next year, you're going to create something else. And you're going to decide for yourself, what do you want to do this year? Because this year, she was a part of someone else's scene, and she wants to do her own next year. I said, do your own next year. Because right now, you feel like you're part of a collective, and you don't really deserve to be a part of a collective that lost, so then you step into it. I said, and then, if you lose, you really don't lose. You've just gotten what you got based on what you put in, and it's always winning. And we really had that winning-losing discussion. So that's really what we are when we use our minds and we stay on principle. It is ours to stay on principle, meaning to know the truth that I am one with everything, that my identity is God, and that the law of cause and effect, my mind is going to create everything for me. So the last line in the song is, I'm giving you all my love, and I'm still looking up. I loved listening to Karen Frost speak just now. Karen Frost, in case you don't know her name. Because she outs herself. She stands here and tells you what the problems going on with her, this idea that she feels like, what was the word you used?
Flake.
See, I've already lost it. Flake, right, that she had that belief, and she tells you all of that. And yet, the thing is, at the end of the day, she loves herself. Even though she's hard on herself, she loves herself because she has made a commitment in life to live this teaching, And when you're a minister, you actually make a commitment to live it out loud and in front of people, which is very important. So, I'm giving you all my love, and I'm still looking up. And do you know what I call up? Unlimited potential. Unlimited potential. You and I get every single day to literally look at ourselves and say, I know who I am. I'm unlimited potential, no matter what, Dr. Tom Costa. No matter what is going on in my life, I am unlimited potential. Ernest Holmes said this, someday we shall learn to lay our burden on the altar of love, that they may be consumed by the fire of faith in the living Spirit. Consumed by the fire of faith. So the title of my talk, as I said, is Living in the Fire. That means you are living a life of faith. You're living a life that allows you, really allows you, to navigate the stream of living, no matter what, from a faith-based place of knowing who you are so deeply, so rooted in faith, so rooted in truth, that no matter what it is, you are able to look right at it and say, I won't give up on me. The mental equivalent that right where I am, God is. And where God is, where that infinite life and love and energy is, that is where the pure potential of the universe resides. So whether I'm locked in a car for 7 hours, or whether I am sweeping the front of this building because they've left it a mess again, no matter what, all the things that I consider annoying, no matter where I am, God is right there present to the degree that I wake up and remember that. And so that's what I want you to do in terms of looking at this whole month of taking action. The action that needs to be taken primarily, most importantly, is the action of keeping your mind in a state of faith and truth so clearly, so vividly, so purposefully that no matter what happens to you on this amazing journey, you know who you are and you don't forget it. Because a mind that remembers who it is will have every cat in the neighborhood showing up at your feet, rolling over and saying, "Pet me," because it knows who you are. Now it's just time for you to know who you are. Namaste.